Hey everyone, welcome to the Round 7 player ratings video. These videos, I cannot explain to you how much better and easier they are to do after a win like that. Everything just seems so great right now. But if you're new here and you've never seen a player ratings video, welcome to the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. What I like to do here is just start the conversation. I'm going to give a rating out of 10 for each player that played. Based on their standing in the team, their role on the day, and how they've executed that, and the personal circumstances around each and every one who played, and basically if there's any corrections to be made, you will finish them off in the comments below. So whether you think a rating should be higher or lower, I've got a spreadsheet which will have a tally of all the votes for the end of the season, and then we'll crown a champion at the end of the year and see how we feel like the players are going and who we think is the fans' best and fairest, so to speak. If you are someone that's been here from the beginning of the player ratings, welcome back. Let's get into it. You know how it goes. We're going to start off with the back line and we're going to make our way through each player as the team was named. We'll start with Lockie Plowman. I mean, I thought Lockie Plowman was okay. I thought he just did his job. I didn't really find myself saying or noticing him doing, too many outstanding things. I thought he just got his job done. Obviously, with the defenders, they have conceded over 100 points. You do want to apportion some of that to the midfield as well. But Plowman, I just gave a pass mark for his game. Just gave him a 5. Jonesy, I gave a 7. He rose to the occasion. He found some form in the second half last week, and he carried that on against Essendon, and we needed it because a game like that against a rival and what it meant to the fans. I thought he played in the spirit of what it meant to play against Essendon, so I gave him a 7. Adam Saad, number 8. How good is it? How good is that? Was getting booed all day by those fucking drug cheating dogs, and he shut them up. It was a great tussle, great battle. There was a moment where he and Archie Perkins were stationed on the wing in a contest, and Archie Perkins actually came out on top. As much as I didn't like it, I kind of enjoyed what it was for the spectacle. But it was back and forth with he and the fans, and I'm going to give a shout out to the Carlton cheer squad who made sure that when he was booed, they really led the chants for him. So that was special. He was great. He had the 20 odd touches, kicked a goal as well, which brought the house down. And yeah, I gave him an 8 for his game and absolutely loved it. And it was just so good to see how silent the Essendon fans were about Adam Saad towards the end of the game. So I gave him an 8. Next up, it's Stocker, Wiedering and Doherty. Stocker, I love this kid. I absolutely love everything this kid is about. Had a brief exchange with him at the season preview launch dinner. I was really keen to meet him because he strikes me as someone that's really different to the rest of not only the players at Carlton but the league because of his upbringing. He's he was raised in lived in Hong Kong and in Beijing and spent some time in his childhood overseas, and I just feel like his perspective on the world would be completely different to those in the league, and he's got an intelligence about him which is really deep, and he's a deep thinker, and I love him. I just love everything it is about. And then having said all of that, once he crosses the white line, he's a fucking demon. Like, he's got it in his eyes. And I just love his attack on the footy. There was a particular moment, a tackle that he and Parks laid together. And, that's what it's all about. And for me, he's got to stay in the side for the rest of the year because one thing he's got is the base level of competitiveness in him. The skills and all of that, he's still pretty good. He's a pretty good kick. He had a few errant moments as well, but his competitiveness, to have that, you start there and then you build the skill and then you build the game plan around what he needs to do and you build his role from there. I love him. I'm just happy for him. Last year was obviously very tough for him. None of us really know what happened. He obviously needed to come home and something happened with his his well-being, his mental well-being. So to see him out there and smiling, that's really what it's all about. So I gave him a 7 for his game. I enjoyed what he did. I enjoyed the attack on the man, and he just looks like he belongs at the level. And I spoke in my review about yesterday being a little bit of it was a moments game, and that's what finals footy kind of looks like. It's like everyone's got a moment. Everyone has quite a few moments in each game, and I just thought he stood up in them, and he's got it. Whatever it is, he's got it. So that's how I saw his game. Wieders in his 100th game was so good. I thought we unlocked him a little bit. Now, was that coaching? Was that Wiedering taking more of an onus on the game and deciding to really get involved offensively? But whatever it is, I love it. I really do. I think he took 11 marks for the game, which is phenomenal. And it's something I think we can utilise moving forward. I think the idea of Jones playing as the loose is in everyone's mind. I think Wiedering's the one that can maybe play a little bit loose in the sense of I want to free him up offensively because I think he's got a nice kick. I think he's a good decision maker and I think he can read the play very well. So to have him just as a lockdown one-on-one guy, I don't know if we're getting the most out of him, but nevertheless, yesterday I thought he was fantastic. So I gave him a 9 out of 10 for his game. Doc, it was an interesting game for our skippers. I found myself getting frustrated with them early in the game. Doc, look, at the end of the day, Doc has done his job. There's no doubt about that. He's had the 19 touches. He was. I just found mistakes early in the game. There was a particular moment, I think Tipping Woody took a mark on the lead, but it was in the hole that Doherty was guarding, and he just didn't react quick enough. And then the very next play in the midfield, he shanked a kick and turned it over, and maybe it was the pressure. I'm hoping that because everyone else around him, he and Cripps lifted, and I'm hoping it maybe relieves some pressure off them and they can start to play with a little bit more freedom. But they just look like they're really tightening up under pressure, and it's something they're going to work through. They're captains, and the captains of the Carlton Football Club. They're not captains of these B grade teams in the competition. So there's a lot of pressure on them, and I can sense the pressure in them, and I hope that with time, because we don't like using the word patience as Carlton fans, but I think we do need to give them some time to learn how to lead, because there's no blueprint to leading. You've just got to learn by failing over and over again. So anyway, I gave Doc a 6 for his game. I thought he was still did his job, but just not at a very, very high level to what I've seen him do. Next up, it's Curnow, Cripps and Cottrell. Ed Curnow, I thought he's early in the game. I was really worried. I think Paul Sebastiani said it in his fan cam last night. I was just thinking, what are we doing with this bloke? I mean, I've got a short fuse for the older guys now, but anyway, first quarter was done. He responded. Love him to death. You can't drop a guy that plays the game the way Ed Curnow does, in my opinion. You just can't. He plays the game with a spirit and a hunger and a gut running ability and a will to want to keep going, and you have to reward that. You can't punish that. So, thought he was fantastic. I gave him an 8 for his game. Cripps, I'm going to be honest. I mean, we're going to get to the goal in a minute, but before the goal, his first 3 or so quarters, I was worried. He just wasn't playing with a desperation. He didn't come for a war, I didn't think, early in the game. He didn't come for the war that was the Essendon Carlton, spectacle at the Coliseum. He just I felt him just going through the motions at times, and I felt him, after contests would leave his area, it was just flat foot, standing, walking, as opposed to Sam Walsh or Ed Curnow and others who are, jogging and running to be in position for the next situation. And for me, reading the body language, it's not that he doesn't care. I feel like, and I said it with Doherty just moments ago, I feel like there's just so much going on, and he moved around like a guy that is not 100% focused on the moment. He looked like a guy that's got a lot of things on his mind. I understand there's a lot happening in his hometown. Back in WA, they had a cyclone. Is that weighing on him? Is the decision weighing on him? Whether we want to admit it or not, it's got to be a distraction. For me, it has to be a distraction. Has he made his mind up yet? Is he thinking yes or no? Am I staying? Am I going? Who knows? Who knows what's going on? But that's not Patrick Cripps. And people can say he's injured and people can give me the excuse, but that's not Patrick Cripps. That's not the guy who was giving us the 3rd, 4th and 5th efforts after contests. Walsh is now willing himself, and that was Cripps. And for whatever reason, Cripps seems to be a little off at the moment mentally, in my opinion. I'm not saying what I think is not gospel and it's not correct, but these are just my observations. I just don't. His body language tells me something's going on. But then he kicks the goal, and he misses the first one. He hits the post, and again you're just thinking, come on, Cripps. And the fans feel the pressure. We put the pressure on him, but we feel the emotion of him. Just not getting there. And I hope yesterday when he broke through and kicked that goal, I hope there was a realization for him that the anger and the frustration and the criticism from the fans, it comes from a place of love, not from a place of hate. No one wants to hate on any player. No one really wants every player to fail. It comes from a place of love, and it comes from a place of wanting them to be better and wanting them to succeed. And so when they don't succeed, or when they don't take their opportunities, there's that frustration. And anyway, for him to kick that goal, as much as internally I was slating him, and I was with my brother and I'm telling him, fuck him, let him go home, he's not here, his head's not in it. As much as I was saying all of that, as soon as he kicks that goal, he has something that not all the players have in the team that he can do for the crowd. Like, Harry kicks goals, but it doesn't G the crowd up anywhere near as much as when Cripps kicks a goal. I mean, you just felt it. It was very reminiscent of the Collingwood goal in 2000 and... was it 18? Yeah, 2018. It was a very similar goal, and happy for him. I'm hoping it releases something within him, and he was smiling again, and I'm hoping he can use that to be the circuit breaker to move forward. But not his best game. I gave him a 6 out of 10. Cottrell, loved the way he goes about it. He played with the spirit. He played like a Carlton fan. I watched a Carlton human being play the football game yesterday when I watched him play. His attack on the footy was great. He's a little sloppy at times with his disposal, but yesterday was about the intangibles, as I think Jad said in the fan cams, and I think he brings that. I gave him a 7 out of 10, and there's the perfect example of the player ratings. It's not to say that, like, Cripps had a 6, Cottrell had a 7. It's Cottrell standing in the team and what we expect from him and his role, So I thought he did his job. Next up is Cunningham, McGovern and Gibbons. Cunners, where you been, mate? Where you been, David? Where you been, son? It's good to see you, mate. It's great. I gave him a 10 out of 10. I knew he would. I had a really good feeling he would play well yesterday because he had a solid amount of midfield minutes last week, and then you see Murphy and Williams out, and there's a good case in point yesterday for David Cunningham. In that Murphy's out, Williams is out. Now, if they're in the side, I just can't help but feel that Cunningham mentally goes into I've got the safety net there of Williams and Murphy, and they're the big name players in the team and they'll do it. I would hope that Cunningham's mentality is, no, I'm David Cunningham and I'm ready to take over. And I think until that happens, we're still going to see this guy that's in and out and inconsistent. So I hope yesterday was a bit of a wake-up call, a bit of a relief for him. He does play well against Essendon, we know that. But I want him to play more minutes the way he did on the ball yesterday. The main thing about Dave Cunningham's game, you can talk about the touches. He's had 25, he's kicked 2, but the way he attacked each contest with speed and force was really what allowed him to play well yesterday. And he's clean, he's a one-touch player. Very happy, and just happy for him. There's been critics... of him. The fans want more from him. He's a talented player, and I'm just happy for him. So I gave him a 10 out of 10. Mitch McGovern, one thing I probably didn't mention in my video is guys that, we want to see, a group that care. And, Mitch has had his 9 touches and kicked his goal, and the stats won't be amazing in his favour, but he cares. He cares and he wants it. And, I'm going to shout out Rocco and Marcello and Paolo with the jumper punch because he fucking gave a few, and he's probably going to cop a week or 2. Or I don't know, he might cop a week suspension. He's obviously done his hamstring as well. But to see him get in there and let the emotion spill over. Now, I don't want to condone violence. That's a fucking lie. I absolutely want to condone violence. I want to condone emotions. Now, you've got to be careful. You can't step over and you can't get suspended and whatnot. But you know what? He took one for the team, and he let his emotions spill over. And for me, the relief and what I can now, for me personally as a fan, what I can do is I can take a step back a little bit and, okay, he cares and he's trying, and the contract is the contract, and he's getting criticised for it from me and from a lot of the fans. But I saw a guy yesterday that just wanted to impact with every fibre of his being, and that will, that's what we need to see. That's what we want to see. Really unfortunate for him to have done his hammy the way he did. It came out of a real effort play, and he was sprinting. There was about 5 minutes to go, and I'm not in the camp of, no, he shouldn't be sprinting. Because every moment is a reflection of your mentality, and I think the fact that he was sprinting like that with 5 minutes to go and the game was pretty much iced tells me what it meant to him. So it's unfortunate. He's going to miss, probably 3 to 4, and it's going to be a bit of a battle to get back in. But it is what it is. You can't do much about it. I gave him a 7 for his game. I just loved his intensity and his effort, and I put a little bit extra for the jumper punches because I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of him spilling over and just showing me that, it means something. That's what it is for me. Gibbons, thought early on he wasn't very good. I thought he got better as the game went on. He was nice without being excellent. I gave him a 6 for his game. Next up is Casbolt, Mackay and Betts. Casbolt, I'm going to be honest, at the game yesterday, I was really unhappy with his output. It wasn't until I got home and watched the replay that I realised, oh, fuck, like he's actually just doing his job. He's not there to be a star. He's there to crash packs, throw his weight around, create a contest, create a spillage. We obviously want a guy that's going to be able to take marks and all of that, but just listen to me. Tom de Koning will be back, and, that's that. Because I watched the first half of the reserve yesterday, and we can't get TDK back quick enough. Having said that, I don't want to rush TDK. I understand the notion of get minutes into TDK and whatnot in the AFL, but let's just make sure Tommy's 100% healthy, and we don't want to put him at risk of injuring himself again, because he has just come back from a stress reaction, which is a load-related injury. So we want to be careful with Tom. And if it means we've got to be 1 or 2 or 3 more weeks more patient with Levi Casbolt for the betterment of the long term of having Tom in the side, I think that's the move personally. But listen, he's done his job, Levi. I'll give him a 6. Harry Mackay, it turns out he was sick, and his first half wasn't very good, but he told David Teague, but he didn't tell anyone else, and he wanted to be out there. And again, that's what it meant to him. And he's an interesting one, Harry. The kick around the body, it is what it is. He doesn't quite G the crowd up, like the other forwards in the past, but maybe that'll come. But thought he played his role well enough. One thing I've seen so far with Harry this season is when it's not his day where he's having, a great game, he's minimum standard. He finds a way to kick his 2, or in this case, kick his 3, and that's important. It's very, very important to mitigate your worst and have the gap between the best and the worst, reduced. So I was happy with him. I gave him a 7. Eddie, you just knew, didn't you? It was a tough one for him. The fans were crying out for him to be dropped. But David Teague stuck fat. And look, a guy that has 4 shots on goal in a game the week before, you got to back him in. And I thought David Teague backed him in. And that's part of being a coach, a good coach, empowering your players and believing in them when the outside noise is seeping in. And, I'm just happy for Eddie. Kicked his goals, did his thing. Hopefully it's the start of something. He still at times looks like he's fumbling and, a little bit, I don't know if the game's gone past him or whatever it is, but it was just good to see. And he's another one that brings the crowd to its feet in a manner that not many players can do. That's the reality. Whether you are criticising him, I'm sure everyone that criticised him for, being in the side still got excited when he kicked the goals. And that's the hard part, because you love him, but you want what's best for the club. So I gave him a 9. We've got Pitto, Walsh and Dow. Pitto, sort of starting to get to the point now where it's like, he's a battler, and all of that, but I think the novelty's wearing off a little bit for me. I need to see something next level from him now. I gave him a 6 for his game. I thought he did his job, but I think, even his ruck taps, we've got to get softer hands from him. I feel he's a bit of just a rough ruckman, and look, we love it because of, what he brings to the side in terms of a presence, but I just felt like, as a ruckman, I want a little bit more, I don't know, hit outs to advantage, I guess. So I gave him a 6 for his game. Don't get me wrong, did his job, but I'm just finding myself asking for more and wanting more from him from that ruck position. So we'll see how that plays out. Walshy, I gave him a 10. This is becoming a training drill. This is really becoming a drill. I said that he's going to win the Brownlow at the start of the year, and I really don't think I'm far off. I think he's really elevating. I think we're seeing a Chris Judd type guy. He loves it. He wills himself. He keeps going. He runs all day. I think he ran 17 kilometers. Gave him a 10 out of 10. What can I say? He is the player of the game, and just happy for him. That's all I can say. And I hope he doesn't get complacent, and I hope he is the one that brings us one of the the few leaders of the next generation that bring us to the glory days again. So love Walsh's game. Paddy Dow, such a shame. I thought he started off with the right mentality. He cracked in. It was a shocking injury, and he wanted to play on, and it was tough. It was. I didn't think he deserved to come straight back in, but I understood the mentality from the standpoint of, we've got to get him just having the game to get some confidence. And, he's obviously done well against Essendon in that pre-season game. And so the mentality of this is an opportunity to have Dow play the game with confidence. I can understand why they brought him in, even though I didn't think he deserved it per se. But the footy gods spoke in a random wacky injury, split his eye open, and that looked really awful. So hope he's okay. I'm not sure how much it will impact him in terms of being available for next week. But I'm not going to grade him. He got injured in the first quarter, and Samo came on. On the bench, we've got Fog Dog, we've got Parks, we've got Owies and Noons, and we've got Samo I've got to give a rating to as well. Now, Fogarty, thought he started slowly, built his way into it, kicked his 2 goals, did his job. I gave him an 8 out of 10 for his game. Parksy, fucking hell, the tackle on Tipper. That was something else. He actually leaks a bit, to be honest. I thought he let Harrison Jones off the mark a little bit, and just his positioning with going up for a spoil, and he just failed to put any body on Harrison Jones at times. Just slipped through. But his attack on the footy can't be questioned. I thought he was fantastic. The tackle pressure was great. I gave him a 7 for his game. Love what he brings to the side, and he plays with the spirit. And we got beaten in the statistical game yesterday, but the intangibles that the footy gods repay you for are really what makes this game special. And I thought he was fantastic, Parks, with his ability to play with the spirit that's required against those scumbags. Noons, I thought he was okay without being outstanding. I was expecting a bit more from him, but I ended up looking. He's done his job. I'm just looking for a little bit more from a senior guy yesterday, given the situation with the team. I gave him a 6 for his game. He was all right. He wasn't terrible. Owies, oh wow, it was a breakthrough performance for Owies. I loved the fact that he got on the end of a few, and I love the fact that he's developed and he's did it on the big stage in front of 57,000 people. I love the fact that he's got some physicality about him, and he started a little bit of a fight, and he's getting into Redmond. It means something from him, and he's someone who, when I first met him in 2019, I interviewed him on the channel. I think he was the first interview that I did here on the channel with a player. He was just raw, and his eyes were like shining, and he's like, wow, I'm at the Carlton Football Club. And then I watched him play. I've always found that his ability to read the ball and where it's going to be is second to none because of his basketball background. He's a point guard. He sees things very differently. And the only thing was his body work, his body positioning, and that has improved tenfold. And the moment really is the chest mark, the tough contested chest mark. His ability to withstand tackle pressure. He's not afraid. He's not out of place in the contest. I thought he was great. And then once he kicked his first goal, I felt like there was a bit of a relief for him. Like he just wanted to get on the scoreboard, and then that was it. Took his moment. Great set shot routine. It's pretty. It's beautiful. Love what I saw from him. I gave him a 9 out of 10. I loved his game in terms of, he's standing in the team, and you don't know if he's going to be playing when our best 22 are available. He's a depth player, but I was really relieved for him and his family and everyone involved in his career and all the hard work that's gone in. So really happy for him, and he's a great dude. He's a really, really great dude. Cool dude. Does a lot of things away from footy that don't get publicised, for the community that hopefully people start seeing, and we've got a good one there. Samo obviously came on as the sub. I thought it was a little bit. I went to the reserves game and I was thinking, this is the game to play Samo in the midfield if you're going to drop him. I didn't agree with him being dropped, but at the same time, if you're going to do it, play him in the midfield. But I guess the sub rule is a different one for us now because there is a situation where they could be available, and Samo as the sub is a great sub to have. I gave him a 6 out of 10 for his game. I thought it was pretty good. Killer moment was the mark, defensive 50, strong mark late in the game. I thought it was just a symbolic moment. I hope to see him playing up the ground a bit more. I really do. Whether it's him or Stocker, I'm not sure. I guess when Newman comes in, there's another issue there. I hope we then move Samo maybe even into the forward line and Stocker up the ground a bit more. But I gave Samo a 6, and there's my player ratings. It was a team that played with the care factor yesterday. I'm so happy as a fan, as a supporter, and I'm just happy for us as fans and for the players and for the footy club. And it was a tough week. We criticised them heavily, and they deserved it. But they came out and they responded, and all of a sudden we've got a game against the Doggies on Sunday, and if we win that game, the ledger's even again, and we go back at it. So looking forward to it. Please share with me your comments and your thoughts about the player ratings. If you have any changes you'd like to make, just let me know in the comments. Don't take them too seriously and get offended. I think some people get a little bit too caught up in the ratings. What I'm saying is not gospel and not right. It's just really a conversation starter, so we can dissect the game a little bit more. And I like to learn off things that I'm missing. Like, I like to be wrong because it teaches me something. So put your input in the comments below, and we'll chat about it some more. Have a great one. Have a great week. Go the Mighty Blues.